Hi! Today we are going to talk about one of the most important figures in Finnish history. Her name is Minna Canth, and she was a writer, journalist, and social reformer who challenged many of the social norms of her time. In fact, Minna Canth is described as the Finland's first feminist. Her works address topics such as poverty, gender inequality, social injustice, and the role of women in the society. These were topics that were considered extremely controversial in the late 1800s. But who exactly was Minna Canth? What did she write about, and why is she still so important in the Finnish society today? Let's take a closer look. Historical context. Finland in the 1800s. To understand Minna Canth, first we need to understand the society in which she lived. Minna Canth lived in the 19th century, a time when Finland was not yet an independent country. Finland was part of the Russian Empire as the Grand Duchy of Finland. Society at the time was very hierarchical and traditional. Social class, gender roles, and economic status played a major role in determining people's opportunities in life. Women had very limited rights compared to men. For example, women could not control their own finances after marriage. Their opportunities for education were very limited, and their role in society was often restricted to the home and family. At the same time, the 19th century was also a time of major social change in Europe. Ideas about democracy, equality, and social reform were beginning to spread. Minna Canth became one of the most important voices representing these new ideas in Finland. Minna Canth was born in 1844 in Tampere. Her father worked in the textile industry and later became a shopkeeper. Her family later moved to Kuopio, a city in eastern Finland, which would become the central location of her life. Minna Canth was very interested in learning from a young age. She was able to attend one of the first teaching training schools in Finland that accepted women. This was already unusual at the time because educational opportunities for women were still limited. During her studies, she met Johan Ferdinand Canth, a teacher whom she later would marry. Marriage and family life. Minna Canth and her husband eventually moved to Kuopio, where she worked as a teacher. They had 7 children together, which meant that Minna Canth had significant responsibilities at home. However, her life changed dramatically when her husband died unexpectedly. Suddenly, Minna Canth became a widow with several children to support. Instead of depending on relatives or remarrying, she took over her family's business and continued running a shop in Kuopio. At the same time, she began writing articles and literary works. This experience of managing both work and family responsibilities gave her a deep understanding of the challenges faced by many women in the society. Her writing career. Minna Canth began writing journalistic articles and literary works that focused on social inequalities. She was influenced by a literary movement known as realism. Realist writers tried to portray society as it actually was, rather than presenting romantic or idealized stories. Minna Canth used her writings to explore difficult social issues such as poverty, alcoholism, domestic inequality, and the legal and economic position of women. This approach was very unusual at the time, especially for a woman author. Her most famous works. One of Minna Canth's most famous works is called Työmiehen vaimo, which translates to The Worker's Wife. This play addressed a very specific legal problem in Finnish society. At that time, married women often had no control over their own earnings. If a woman earned money, her husband legally had the right to take it. The play tells the story of a woman whose husband wastes money on alcohol while she struggles to survive. This story highlighted the unfairness of this system and sparked social discussion. Another famous work by Minna Canth is called Anna-Liisa, a play that explores themes such as guilt, morality, and social pressure. Her works often focused on ordinary people rather than the rich or powerful characters. Public reactions. Minna Canth's writings were not universally welcomed. Many people admired her courage and praised her for speaking about social injustice. However, some strongly criticized her. Some critics believed that her works were too radical or that they challenged traditional family values. Despite the criticism, Minna Canth continued to write and to take part in public debates. She became an important figure in the cultural and intellectual life of Finland. Her home in Kuopio even became a very popular meeting point among many important writers and thinkers of the time. Her role in the women's rights movement. Minna Canth is often considered a pioneer of the women's rights movement in Finland. She argued that women should have greater access to education, economic independence, and social participation. She believed that society could not progress if half of the population was excluded from decision-making and opportunities. These ideas were still controversial at the time, but they contributed to broader discussion that eventually led to significant reforms. For example, Finland became one of the first areas in the world where women gained the full political rights both to vote and to run for parliament in 1906. Although Minna Canth did not live to see these reforms, her work helped shape the discussions that made them possible. Why Minna Canth is still important today. Minna Canth's influence continues to be recognized in Finland still today, and every 19th of March we are celebrating Minna Canth Day, or Minna Canthin päivä in Finnish. This is also known as the Day of Equality in Finland. It is one of the official flag days when we are raising our flags to honor her contributions to literature and social equality. Schools, cultural institutions, and media often discuss her legacy and the themes she addressed in her work. Minna Canth left an important legacy in several areas: in Finnish literature, social debate, women's rights, and the development of modern Finnish society. She showed that literature could be used not only for entertainment, but also as a powerful tool to question injustice and inspire social change. Her courage and determination continue to inspire many Finns still today. Minna Canth was much more than simply a writer. She was a thinker, social critic, and a voice for those who had little power in society. Through her works, she encouraged people to question unfair systems and imagine a more equal society. And that's why more than 100 years later, her name is still remembered and celebrated in Finland. If you are interested in Finnish culture, Finnish history, and the Finnish language, make sure to subscribe to this channel to learn more about Finland and the Finnish language. If you learned something new, remember to give a like to this video and share it with someone who you think might like this as well. And let me know in the comments, had you heard about Minna Canth before? And what historical Finnish figures would you like to learn more about? Thanks for watching. Bye!